I offered flowers to an alien queen. Her reaction changed everything. The first human message was only 7 words long. We do not want this war. No threats. No demands. No speeches. Just 7 calm words sent across the stars. The Galactic Dominion did not take it seriously. For generations, the Dominion had ruled through fear. Entire systems surrendered when their fleets appeared. Species older than humanity bowed without resistance. Compared to them, humans were new, scattered, and painfully ordinary. So when the human message arrived, the Dominion commanders laughed. They already sound defeated, one officer said. The Supreme Admiral watched the transmission again. The human voice was steady. No anger, no panic. That is weakness, he decided. Prepare the fleet. Humanity did not know the war had started until it was already too late. The colony of Astra Minor was quiet that day. Children ran through the habitat corridors. Engineers argued about water pressure. Farmers adjusted artificial sunlight for crops that reminded them of Earth. No one saw the Dominion fleet until the sky turned black. The first strike destroyed the orbital shield in seconds. Alarms screamed. Defense cannons fired blindly. It did not matter. The Dominion ships were faster, stronger, and merciless. Entire sections of the colony vanished in white light. The attack lasted exactly 8 minutes. When it ended, Astra Minor was broken, burning, and silent. The Dominion fleet left without a single loss. They broadcast the destruction across known space. This is the cost of resistance, the message said. On Earth, the recording ended. No one spoke. Admiral Jonah Reed stood at the front of the command chamber, hands clasped behind his back. His face showed nothing, but his eyes were red. How many dead? He asked. Final count pending, an officer replied. Too many. Jonah nodded slowly. Send the response, he said. The officer hesitated, the diplomatic one. Yes. Another message was sent. We understand. That was all. Across the galaxy, analysts were confused. That's it. No threats. No military movement. The Dominion commanders were pleased. They accept defeat, the Supreme Admiral said. Finish them. What the Dominion did not notice was the silence. Human space went quiet. Trade routes closed. Civilian ships vanished from public channels. Military patrols returned home. Listening stations shut down. To outsiders, it looked like collapse. Inside human territory, it was something else entirely. Emergency councils formed on every core world, not politicians, engineers, scientists, veterans, teachers, civilians. Humanity had learned long ago that survival did not depend on titles. It depended on cooperation. Old shipyards reopened. Designs that had been buried under treaties and safety laws were pulled from archives. AI systems were unlocked from restricted modes. Factories ran day and night. Children were evacuated, civilians trained, not as soldiers but as support, logistics, repairs, communications. No speeches about revenge were given. No flags were waved. Humans did not prepare for war with hate. They prepared with memory. They remembered plagues. They remembered world wars. They remembered extinction events. This was not new. Admiral Jonah Reed stood in a quiet room deep beneath Earth's surface. Around him, massive displays showed numbers rising faster than expected. Production efficiency, he asked. 200% and climbing, a technician said. Fleet readiness. Faster than projected. Jonah exhaled slowly. Good, he said, do not rush. Sir, someone asked. They think we are slow, Jonah continued. Let them. The Dominion fleet advanced deeper into human space. No resistance. Empty stations, Silent systems. The Supreme Admiral frowned. Where are their ships? They're hiding, an officer said confidently. Humans lack courage. The Supreme Admiral nodded. Then we will crush them completely. What he did not know was that every step forward placed his fleet exactly where humans wanted them. Humans did not believe in fair fights. They believed in endings. Back on Earth, Jonah Reed watched the Dominion fleet's path. They crossed the line, an officer said. Jonah nodded once. Good, he replied. Now we stop preparing. The officer swallowed. And start. Jonah looked at the display, calm, focused. Adapting, he said. Far away, the Dominion fleet entered the next system, unaware that human weapons were already watching. Learning. Waiting. The galaxy believed humans were weak because they did not roar. They did not yet understand something far more dangerous. Humans went quiet before they survived. And when they survived, they made sure the lesson lasted forever. Silence before the storm. The galaxy grew nervous when humans stopped talking. After the destruction of Astra Minor, everyone expected rage, threats, military speeches, a loud response. None came. Human space went completely silent. No broadcasts. No public fleet movement. No political statements. To most species, silence meant defeat. To the Dominion, it meant opportunity. They are broken, the Supreme Admiral said as he watched the star maps. Finish them before they recover. The fleet advanced. Inside human territory, the silence was deliberate. Admiral Jonah Reed stood in a vast underground command center beneath Earth. Screens covered every wall. Data flowed constantly, but no one spoke unless necessary. How long until Phase 1 completes? Jonah asked. 6 hours, an officer replied, all systems syncing. Jonah nodded. Good, keep everything dark. Human fleet stayed hidden. Power signatures were masked. Communication ran through sealed channels only. To the outside galaxy, humanity looked empty. Inside it was alive. The Dominion fleet entered the Greyline system, a key route leading straight to Earth. It was quiet, too quiet. Scans, the Supreme Admiral asked. Nothing, his officer replied. No ships, no mines, no defenses. The Admiral smiled. They fled, he said. Push forward. The fleet advanced deeper. They did not notice the small changes. Gravity readings were slightly off. Sensor echoes returned a fraction too late. Navigation data corrected itself more often than normal. Small things. Ignored things. Back on Earth, a young engineer stared at her screen. Sir, she said quietly, they crossed the trigger zone. Jonah Reed leaned forward. Confirm. Confirmed, she replied. They're inside. Jonah closed his eyes for 1 second. Begin observation only, he ordered. No weapons fired. No alarms. Just watching. The Dominion fleet continued. Suddenly, one ship slowed. Engine fluctuation, an officer reported. Before the Supreme Admiral could respond, another ship drifted off course. Then another. What's happening? The Admiral snapped. Unknown interference, the officer said. Our systems are compensating. Fix it, the Admiral ordered. That was when the first ship went dark. No explosion. No debris. It simply vanished from sensors. The bridge went silent. What did we lose? The Admiral demanded. Nothing, the officer said slowly. It's still there, but we can't see it. More ships began to fade. Not destroyed. Disconnected. Human technology did not attack ships directly. It attacked certainty. On Earth, Jonah Reed watched calmly. They're confused, an officer said. Jonah nodded. Good, confusion slows reactions. What are we waiting for? Someone asked. Jonah replied, for them to understand they are not in control. The Dominion fleet panicked. Orders overlapped, signals clashed, ships tried to regroup but space itself felt wrong, navigation points shifted, distances changed. This is impossible, the Supreme Admiral said. No, his second-in-command whispered, this is human. Then the message arrived. It appeared on every Dominion screen at once. No threats, no symbols, just a human face. Admiral Jonah Reed looked directly into the camera. You attacked a colony, he said calmly. We asked you not to. The Supreme Admiral shouted, fire. Nothing happened. Weapons would not activate. Jonah continued. We do not fight wars the way you do, he said. We do not seek quick victory. The Admiral slammed his fist against the console. End transmission. The message stayed. We seek conclusions, Jonah said, and we learn very fast. The transmission ended. The silence returned, heavier than before. One Dominion commander finally understood. They're not attacking us, he whispered. They're studying us. That realization came too late. Human systems adapted in real time. Every movement of the Dominion fleet made human countermeasures better, smarter, faster. Humanity was doing what it did best, turning survival into evolution. On Earth, Jonah Reed straightened. Phase 2, he said. Around him, systems unlocked. Human fleets powered up for the first time. Not rushing, not shouting, just ready. Jonah looked at the star map. This ends when they never come back, he said quietly. Far away, surrounded by invisible forces and failing certainty, the Dominion fleet realized the truth. They had not scared humans into silence. They had given them time. And time was the most dangerous weapon humans had ever used. When humans changed the rules, the first alien ship asked a question no one had prepared for. Why are the humans letting us live? The Dominion fleet had stopped advancing, not by choice but because nothing worked the way it should. Engines responded late, sensors lied, weapons refused to lock. Yet no human ship fired. That made no sense. War, as the Dominion understood it, was about speed and force. Humans were doing neither. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship, commanders argued in sharp, clipped tones. They are afraid to strike, one said. They are waiting for reinforcements, another replied. This is a trap, a third whispered. The Supreme Admiral listened in silence. No, he finally said, this is humiliation. Order was given. Regain formation, prepare full assault. The fleet tried. It failed. Ships drifted out of alignment like confused animals. Navigation markers shifted slightly each time they corrected course. Space itself seemed to resist them. This region is cursed, an officer muttered. The Admiral turned on him. There is no such thing as cursed space. But even he no longer believed it. Far away, deep inside human territory, Admiral Jonah Reed watched everything. They're adapting, an officer said. Jonah shook his head. They're reacting, there's a difference. What's the difference? The officer asked. Reaction is panic, Jonah replied. Adaptation is learning. Human systems updated constantly. Every alien command, every signal, every mistake. The more the Dominion struggled, the better humans understood them. A human scientist leaned over a console. They follow rigid patterns, she said. Same corrections, same responses. Jonah nodded, predictable. They believe war has rules, another added. Jonah allowed himself a small smile. That's where they're wrong. The Dominion finally fired. A wave of energy weapons burst forward. They hit nothing. The shots vanished into empty space, absorbed, redirected, or simply ignored by human interference fields. Silence returned. The bridge filled with panic. How? The Supreme Admiral demanded. No one answered. Then something worse happened. A human drone appeared. Small, unarmed, floating calmly in front of the flagship. It did not attack. It transmitted data. "Sir," an officer said, voice shaking, "it's scanning us." The Admiral laughed nervously. "Let them scan," he said. "They are still afraid." The drone left. Minutes later, another ship lost power. Then another. Not destroyed. Disabled. One by one. Humans were not winning through fire. They were removing options. On Earth, Jonah Reed stood with his hands behind his back. "Status. Alien fleet effectiveness dropping fast," an officer replied. "They're confused." Jonah nodded. "Good," he said. "Confusion leads to mistakes." "And mistakes," another officer added, "lead to collapse." Jonah said nothing. He was watching something else. A pattern. Inside the Dominion fleet, a junior commander finally spoke. "Admiral," he said carefully, "what if humans are not trying to defeat us?" The Supreme Admiral turned slowly. "Explain." "What if," the commander continued, "they are trying to understand us completely before they decide what to do?" The bridge fell silent. That idea was worse than defeat. A new human message appeared. Short, calm. "We are still deciding." The Dominion commanders stared at the words. Deciding what? Whether to destroy them. Whether to let them go. Fear spread faster than any weapon. Jonah Reed watched the reaction. "They're scared now," an officer said. Jonah nodded. "Good," he replied. "Fear teaches faster than pain." Human fleets began to move for the first time. Not rushing. Not charging. Just appearing. Everywhere. The Dominion realized too late that humans did not fight to win battles. They fought to change how wars worked. And once the rules changed, there was no going back. The moment they realized too late, the Dominion fleet did not retreat. That was the mistake. They should have pulled back when human ships appeared without warning. They should have run when their systems stopped obeying them. They should have listened to the fear spreading through their own ranks. Instead, they chose pride. "Form battle lines," the Supreme Admiral ordered. "We will break them." For the first time since the war began, human ships did not hide. They arrived quietly. No dramatic jumps. No glowing weapons. No war cries. They simply appeared in space, surrounding the Dominion fleet from every direction. And still they did not fire. On the Dominion flagship, tension filled the bridge. "Where are their heavy weapons?" one officer asked. "Why are they holding position?" another whispered. The Supreme Admiral clenched his jaw. "They hesitate," he said. "Attack now." Weapons powered up. And failed. Again. Far away, Admiral Jonah Reed watched calmly. "Begin Phase 3, he said. A human officer hesitated. "All targets." Jonah nodded once. "All command-capable ships," he replied. "Leave the rest operational." The officer swallowed, understood. The first Dominion command ship shut down instantly. No explosion. No warning. 1 second it was there, issuing orders. The next it was silent. Drifting. Dead in space. Then a second command ship went dark. Then a third. Across the fleet, panic erupted. "We've lost command." No central control. Who's giving orders? No one was. That was the point. The Dominion fleet had been built on hierarchy. Orders flowed from the top. Without leaders, ships froze, waiting for instructions that would never come. Humans knew this. They had studied it, learned it, exploited it. On one disabled ship, a Dominion captain stared at his darkened control panel. "They didn't destroy us," he whispered. A junior officer looked at him. "Then what did they do?" The captain swallowed. "They removed us." Human ships began to move again. Slowly, deliberately. They passed disabled Dominion vessels without firing, without acknowledging them. No taunts, no threats. Just movement. Like predators walking through a field of trapped prey. Back on Earth, a young analyst spoke up. "Sir, we're receiving surrender signals." Jonah Reed did not look surprised. "From how many?" he asked. "Not ships," the analyst said quietly. "Entire fleets." Jonah closed his eyes for a brief moment. "Accept them," he said. "Record everything." The Supreme Admiral finally understood. "They are not trying to defeat us," he said, voice hollow. "They are erasing us." His second-in-command looked at him in fear. "Admiral, what do we do?" The Supreme Admiral had no answer. For the first time in his long life, power meant nothing. A human message appeared on the remaining Dominion screens. No threats. No insults. Just one sentence. "You may leave." Confusion spread. "Leave? They're letting us go." "Why?" The message continued. "Return home. Remember what happened." The surviving Dominion ships fled. Not in formation. Not with honor. But with fear. They ran faster than they had ever advanced. Human ships did not follow. They stopped at the border of human space. Watching. Learning. Remembering. On the bridge of a human vessel, an officer finally asked the question many were thinking. "Why didn't we finish them?" Jonah Reed answered quietly. "Because destruction teaches nothing," he said. "Survivors do." The officer nodded slowly. Across the galaxy, the story spread. Humans had not won a battle. They had rewritten the cost of starting one. The Dominion returned home broken, humiliated, and alive with one terrifying truth burned into their minds. Humans did not seek revenge. Humans sought permanence. And once humans decided you were a threat, they made sure you never forgot it. The lesson humans never announced. The alien commander expected death. That was the strange part. He had prepared himself for it. His people believed humans would finally strike back with anger, with fire, with revenge. When his ship was disabled and boarded, he felt relief. At least it would end. But death did not come. Instead, he was escorted into a quiet room with soft light and smooth walls. No restraints, no guards standing too close, just a chair and a table. And a human. The human officer placed a small cup in front of him. "This is tea," the human said calmly. "It helps with stress." The commander stared at it. "You destroyed our fleet," he said. "Why am I alive?" The human did not answer immediately. He sat down across from him, hands relaxed. "Because," the human said, "you need to understand something." Across human space, captured alien officers were treated the same way. No shouting. No torture. No humiliation. Just questions. Humans asked about command structure, about training, about fear, about why the Dominion attacked first. The aliens were confused. This was not how war worked. The commander finally spoke again. "You could have erased us," he said. "Why stop?" The human officer looked at him. "Because erasing you solves today," he replied. "Teaching you solves tomorrow." The commander felt something cold settle in his chest. On Earth, Admiral Jonah Reed addressed a small group of officers. "We don't need them afraid of us," Jonah said. We need them to remember us." One officer frowned. "Isn't fear enough?" Jonah shook his head. "Fear fades," he said. "Understanding stays." The alien commander was shown something unexpected. Human history. Not speeches. Not propaganda. Records. Wars, plagues, near-extinction events, images of ruined cities rebuilt again and again, data showing how humans adapted under pressure. "We almost destroyed ourselves many times," the human officer explained. "That's how we learned." The commander watched in silence. "You survived all of this?" he asked. "Yes," the human replied, "and we learned something every time." The commander's voice was quiet now. "So this war is another lesson." The human nodded. "For us," he said, "and for you." When the commander was returned to his ship, it was fully repaired, supplies restored, systems functioning. A final message was delivered. "You may return home," the human said. "Tell them what you saw." The commander hesitated. "And if we attack again?" The human looked at him calmly. "The next time," he said, "we won't stop at teaching." The Dominion fleet limped back to its territory. News spread fast. Humans had not celebrated victory. Humans had not demanded tribute. Humans had not claimed territory. They had simply released them. That frightened the galaxy more than destruction ever could. In the Dominion capital, the commander stood before the ruling council. "They are not weak," he said. "They are controlled." The council murmured. "They do not fight for glory," he continued. "They fight so they never have to fight again." One counselor whispered, "What do they want?" The commander answered honestly. "They want to be left alone," he said, "and they will make sure we remember why." Back in human space, Jonah Reed watched the last alien ships disappear. "Do you think they learned?" an officer asked. Jonah nodded slowly. "They did," he said, "and if they didn't, they will." He turned away from the screen. Humans did not need the galaxy to love them. They only needed it to understand one simple truth. Mess with humans once, and you get a lesson. Mess with them twice, and there is no one left to remember it. The galaxy begins to panic. The galaxy did not celebrate the end of the battle. It argued. The moment the Dominion fleet returned home damaged but alive, something broke across interstellar space. Not ships, not stations. Confidence. Meetings were called on dozens of worlds. Emergency councils formed overnight. Old enemies sat at the same tables, suddenly polite. Everyone asked the same question. What did the humans actually do? No one liked the answers. In the Dominion capital, silence filled the high chamber as the returning commander finished his report. "They let us go," he said again, slower this time. A counselor slammed a clawed hand onto the table. "Impossible," they snapped. "No victor lets an enemy leave." "They didn't see us as enemies," the commander replied quietly. "They saw us as a problem." The room grew colder. Across the galaxy, intelligence agencies worked without rest. Human behavior did not fit models. They did not expand. They did not threaten. They did not demand payment. They simply watched. That was worse. One analyst summed it up in a single line. Humans don't want power. They want stability on their terms. On a neutral world far from human space, a minor species quietly canceled a planned border raid. Another species withdrew a fleet already in motion. Trade alliances shifted. Old treaties were rewritten overnight, all with one unspoken rule added. Do not provoke humans. Back on Earth, Admiral Jonah Reed read the reports. "They're changing policy already," an officer said. Jonah nodded, as expected. "We didn't tell them to," the officer added. Jonah allowed a small smile. That's the best kind of influence, he said. Human space remained calm. No victory parades. No speeches. No grand announcements. Life continued. Ships were repaired, colonies rebuilt. Astra Minor began reconstruction with quiet determination. Humans mourned their dead. Then they moved forward. In the Galactic Union, panic slowly turned into fear. What if humans decide we are next? What if we misread them? What if silence means planning? No one had answers. Humans refused to explain themselves. A secret Union report circulated among high officials. Human Combat Doctrine Summary. Avoid escalation. Observe enemy behavior. Adapt faster than opponent. End conflict in a way that prevents return. The final line chilled everyone who read it. Humans do not seek dominance, they seek closure. On a distant listening post, a Union observer whispered to a colleague, "They don't fight like warriors." The colleague nodded. "They fight like survivors." Back in his office, Jonah Reed stared at a star map. "They're scared," an officer said. "Should we say something, reassure them?" Jonah shook his head. "No," he replied. "They need to decide who they want to be without us telling them." The officer hesitated. "And if they choose wrong?" Jonah looked up. "Then we adapt again." Far away, the Dominion Council made a historic decision. They dissolved their expansion program. Not because humans demanded it. Because no one wanted to be the next lesson. Across the galaxy, a new understanding took root. Humans were not conquerors. Humans were not monsters. Humans were something far more dangerous. They were the species that survived everything and remembered how. And now the galaxy remembered them too. The line humans drew. The final message from humanity was not loud. It was not threatening. It did not demand surrender. It did not ask for forgiveness. It was simple. This line exists, do not cross it again. The message was sent to every major power in the galaxy. No one laughed this time. In the Galactic Union chamber, the atmosphere felt different. The seats were full, but the confidence was gone. The screens showed human space marked clearly. No expansion arrows, no fleet movements. Just a boundary. "They're not advancing," one counselor whispered. "They could," another replied. "That's the problem." On Earth, Admiral Jonah Reed stood before a smaller council. Not politicians. Representatives from colonies, science divisions, and civilian networks. "The galaxy is watching us," someone said. "What do we do now?" Jonah folded his hands. "We live," he said. "That's always been the answer." The rebuilding of Astra Minor became a symbol. Humans did not hide the damage. They did not exaggerate it either. They rebuilt slowly, carefully, stronger than before. Other species noticed. Humans did not erase scars. They learned from them. One by one, alien governments sent envoys. Not to threaten. Not to test. To understand. The first question was always the same. Why didn't you destroy us when you could? The human answer never changed. Because we wanted the future to be quieter. The Dominion, once feared across the stars, formally ended its expansion doctrine. Their fleets were reduced, borders pulled back. History recorded it carefully. Not as defeat, as correction. Years later, a young alien student asked their teacher, "Why are humans so respected?" The teacher paused. "Because," they said, "humans are the species that survived themselves." Jonah Reed stood alone one evening, looking at the stars. An officer joined him. "Do you think they'll forget?" the officer asked. Jonah shook his head. "No," he said, "they don't need to remember us every day." He pointed to the star map. They just need to remember once, when it matters. Human fleets remained smaller than expected. Human weapons stayed mostly hidden. That scared the galaxy more than open displays ever could. Because humans had proven something undeniable. They did not need constant power to stay powerful. They only needed resolve. The Galactic Union officially recorded humanity's status. Species classification, stabilizing force. Humans laughed quietly when they heard that. It sounded polite. It meant something else entirely. In the final report of the war, one line stood out. Not written by a human. Written by an alien historian. The mistake was not attacking humans. The mistake was assuming they would fight like us. Far from councils and fleets, on a quiet human world, children played under an open sky. They did not know the details of the war. They did not need to. The galaxy had learned the lesson for them. Humans were not heroes. Humans were not villains. They were survivors who drew a line and meant it. And the galaxy, for the first time in its long history, chose not to cross it. You messed with humans once. The galaxy made sure you never needed a second reminder. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos.